Hey souls, it's Vega. I'm back here with another astrology video, and we are continuing on our Midheaven series, and today we're going to be discussing our Midheaven in Pisces. So let's get into it. The video may be a little choppy. Also, I did a good job and I took notes this time. So I have notes. If you see me looking down over here, my notes are over here. I'm a little under the weather, so just please bear with me today. The ruler of the 10th house is Capricorn. The 10th house represents our career, our reputation. It represents the energy that we give off at work, in our workplace, in our careers, not necessarily our 6th house energy, which rules the workplace, but more so our career. Like when you're on the road to building your legacy, this is the energy that you express in the process. This is the character that you play in this part of your life, and really where your soul incarnated to give value to society. Capricorn is the goat. The goat wants to move up the mountain. The goat is trudging up the mountain. And so the 10th house cusp represents the highest point in your chart, and that being the highest point in your chart means that it can be seen from a distance. It can be seen as the top of a mountain can be seen miles and miles and miles away. So really, your ascendant, your rising sign, is what people may see when they're up close and personal with you. Maybe your rising sign is like it's like your packaging. It's like if you're a candy wrapper, your delicious nougat candy, they're not going to see the nougat. They're going to see what the packaging is. So really, your ascendant really represents your wrapping, how you dress. It represents the energy that you have when someone first meets you, but more so from a distance is your midheaven energy. So it's a very, I like to think of it as a celebrity, how a celebrity is viewed on the red carpet on TV. So in order for us to truly understand the midheaven energy, we have to move down to the opposite side of the chart, which is going to be your IC or your Imum Coeli. So basically, your in a zodiac wheel is cut up into 4 different quadrants. So you have your ascendant, your descendant, your midheaven, and your Imum Coeli, or sometimes called your nadir. So your nadir is basically your home life, and that's home to the sign of Cancer. So Cancer is all about home, it's all about roots, it's all about family, it's your deep seated roots. It's the experience that you had growing up, how you were nurtured as a child, how you were nurtured as a young soul that's just incarnating into this world, and the sort of experiences that you had along with your family, how you were treated by your family. There's a lot that you can find in your 4th house. Pisces energy is mutable water. So Pisces has a very deep and emotional nature to it, and I know a lot of Pisces people and Pisces midheaven people, or a lot of people who carry a lot of Neptune energy, they are probably tired of people saying, oh, you're so sensitive, oh, you're so this, oh, you're so emotional. I'm sure that you guys get sick of, hearing this over and over again, that you're sensitive. This also applies for anyone with Neptune energy, a Neptune Conjunct midheaven. So when we think of Neptune energy, it represents our intuition. It represents our 6th sense. It represents our clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. It's like the subconscious, the hidden, the intuitive nature in all of us. Anything metaphysical, there is no end and no beginning. There's really no clear boundary, because all is energy, all is spirit. There's really not a lot of structure to it, so there's really, when it comes to lacking that sort of structure, lacking that those boundaries that you would have with maybe Saturn energy, that you would have with maybe Pluto energy, you definitely have this sort of boundless, mystical, and hazy sort of energy. Like Neptune rules our dreams. Neptune rules like astral projection. It rules out of body experiences. It's almost like putting on rose-colored lenses. It's very difficult to really see clearly what's happening because Neptune creates sort of like this fog. It creates like smoke and mirrors. So Neptune is beautiful in itself, but also Neptune, it rules delusion. So delusion is definitely, illusion and delusion is definitely present. When someone sees you, when someone views you, it's like they're never truly viewing you for who you really are. It's almost as if others can project what they believe that you are. They can project their ideas of what they think you are or how they see you onto you. And really, it's almost as if you're a clean slate. It's almost as if you are whatever someone else projects onto you. So I believe that having Neptune is a very beautiful placement in your midheaven, on your midheaven. It's also I feel like it's a very challenging one. And so this is gonna be a long video. I have a lot to say about Neptune, so feel free to get yourself comfortable, get yourself some food, grab yourself a cup of tea. I might pause this and grab myself a cup of tea as well. First and foremost, when someone views you, they see you as you have a vibe. When people talk about a vibe, oh, that's a vibe, this is a vibe, really they mean Neptune energy. Like, it's easy for people to think that you're a certain way and you could not be that way at all. They could assume or make an assumption about you or even create a rumor about you because Neptune rules lies. The 12th house rules lies and deceit as well. So you may struggle with a lot of lies and deceit, so when it comes to having this Pisces energy, this Pisces midheaven, Pisces is such an open and beautiful energy. It's a very sensitive energy. And when I say sensitive, I'm very sensitive about the word sensitive because I also have some of this, number 2 energy. That's numerology. That's another video for a different day. But I definitely have this number 2 energy, which is a very sensitive energy. And it's more so you have to be, in order to understand things at the level that you guys understand them, in order to perceive things at the level that you perceive them, in order to really deeply grasp those around you, their emotions, what's really happening around you deeply, you have to be in tune with the vibrations. You have to be in tune with what people are feeling, what they're thinking, So you are someone who you are very, very psychic when it comes to the motives, when it comes to the motives of others, when it comes to what's happening around you, when it comes to the way that people are feeling, what they think about you, when it comes to what may happen next. You may already be ahead of the crowd, where not like you're honest, but this is more of like a psychic energy where you may know what's gonna happen next. You may know, okay, this is the direction we're moving into in our business. Like, this is where I see this headed in the business, because it's like you perceive things in a way where you have this deep inner knowing. And the thing about Pisces energy and the Pisces midheaven is, when it comes to having this deep, intense knowing, this Neptune energy may cause confusion. When it comes to Pisces, they a lot of times will have this strong intuition, but I don't feel like they have the confidence to really act on their intuition. They a lot of times lack the confidence to stand up for themselves, and because they don't want to harm others, they are here, like Pisces people are really here to service humanity. Like, you are here to heal people. You are here to bring healing to their spirits, healing to their souls. And so you don't want to offend someone, You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to hurt them. So you may sacrifice yourself, and you may sacrifice your own emotional well-being. Since there's no clear boundaries, it's difficult to set healthy boundaries in the workplace. It's very difficult for you to set healthy boundaries when it comes to how much work that you're willing to put in, and you may carry your entire team. So we're going to talk about Jesus Christ. I want to put into perspective the energy of the 12th house. This is just to go off on a small tangent, just to add more context to what I'm saying. The last 2,000 years, we've been in the age of Pisces. So we are still in the age of Pisces, but we are transitioning into the age of Aquarius. This age was all about belief. It was all about the metaphysical. It was all about believing in something, even though it was not there in front of you. When you think of Jesus Christ, you think of his selfless nature. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son to save the world. So he gave his son. He incarnated into a man to save humanity. He suffered. This energy of dying on a cross for humanity, this is Pisces energy. I mean, Jesus Christ. What's the symbol of Jesus Christ? The fish. There's so much I can say about that. So much I can say. But look, that's another video for another day. Pisces have this way of becoming the sacrifice, of feeling like the only way for them to help others is to sacrifice themselves in some way. So Pisces are here for society. They are here to help. But at the same time, this can become detrimental to your mental health. This can become detrimental to your physical health, depending on the work that you do, because there is no boundaries being set. And you may attract someone who may use you or push you to your limits, or really someone who may not appreciate your work, but just see you as someone who's always going to be there. Someone who will always be there to help, always be here to pick up the extra slack from others. And so you definitely are someone that you can be used in the workplace. And if you are not being careful, this can really deeply affect you psychologically, emotionally, and it could really drive you into a deep depression, because it's deeply painful to know that others take advantage of other people and they really don't care. So I would have to say that if you are someone with the Pisces Midheaven, you really, really, really want to work on setting healthy boundaries for yourself. If you're someone who doesn't struggle with this, you may have already conquered that. You may be someone who has been walked all over in the past, and so now you're really, really good. It's one of your strengths to set healthy boundaries. Pisces is so imaginative because it's all about the subconscious. It's all about our dreams. It's all about things that we can imagine and create from our own minds, and Pisces really create from their soul. So this is the artistic nature, it's giving me actress, because actresses are able to mesh into whatever they want to become, they can become. So this is mutable water. It's changeable. It's mutable. It's like the chameleon, so chameleons can change into whatever is around them or whatever their environment is. They can play any role. So Pisces is an amazing actor placement. Pisces is just, I don't know why this is just making me excited. It's making me excited because I'm like, God damn, is there another placement that's better than Pisces for an actor or actress? Is there a better? I don't know. I don't think so. These are artists. These are your actresses. These are your musicians. These are your healers. You may heal through divination. You may be someone who can come to someone's house and say, okay, let me heal you through these cards, through this reading for you. So you can be in tune with the energies, the spirits, and everything else around that surrounds a person in order to bring them a message and to be a vessel for a message for them. So that includes a tarot reader, you know, that includes anything spiritual. They want to be of service. And so really Jesus Christ, the whole entire Jesus Christ complex, it's giving me reverend. It's giving me someone who's in the church, someone who is healing others in the church. It just is. It may not be the preacher, you know, because Pisces energy doesn't necessarily want to be in the number one spot in the spotlight. Pisces are very, very good at working behind the scenes. They are the great number 2 to the number 1s, okay? So they're really amazing when it comes to working behind the scenes, when it comes to helping people and basically being the power behind the throne. Pisces energy is very deeply nurturing, and they nurture people to their greatness. I believe that Pisces really do a great job with pulling from the inspiration around them. These are your diviners, these are your crystal ball readers, you know, these are your astrologers, really anything that's esoteric and spiritual. You know, this could be religious as well. You know, if someone has a Pisces energy but they may not have access to certain esoteric knowledge and certain occultic knowledge, they may gravitate more towards the spiritual religious side, which is, you know, being religious in the church and also being spiritual in the church. You know, these are definitely like your Christian witches. There's a lot of controversy right now on whether or not you can be Christian and practice witchcraft. And to me, I'm not a gatekeeper. You know, I'm not a gatekeeper when it comes to who can do what. So this is hilarious. You can believe something and then still go ahead and practice something that you also believe at the same time, because you're not going to set this hard boundary where it's like, no, this is a rule, this is how it needs to be, this is not how it needs to be. You know, the fish is fluid. The fish just likes to swim, it just likes to flow, and wherever it flows, it's gonna go. You know, you're not gonna stop your own flow. The thing about water, if the element is contained, it is pretty harmless. They don't let their wrath out, but there is power in water. There is, people be acting like water, it's so feminine and so sensitive. I've seen water fuck some shit up, okay? Water, tsunamis, hurricanes, you do not want to mess with uncontained water. They don't want to unleash it if it doesn't have to be unleashed, you know, because they are really the oldest sign in the zodiac. They're all the way at the 12th sign of the zodiac. They don't have a reason to really go out of their way and say, you know, here's my ego, I need to be seen, I need to be recognized, I need this, I need that. They really don't have the energy for that, because it's like they've already lived through that. They've started as an Aries and already moved through. You know, the Pisces represents the stage of life where you have already accumulated all of this wisdom, and so you don't need to, you're not really about that. You're really about just loving people. You know, when someone is about to die, like, they are not thinking about their ego. So because when you think about the stage right before death, you're really thinking about the impact that you have on others. You're really thinking about leaving a mark on others that are positive. And you don't want to leave a negative impact on somebody before you leave this planet, because you see the big picture. You are the chameleon. You have this way of transmuting yourself into whatever it is that is the best for the situation. So if you're in a particular job that requires you to have these certain qualities about you, if you have to be very personable, even if you are someone who's introverted, but if you have to turn yourself into an extrovert in order to perform in a job that requires this extroversion, then you will be able to do that. So you may work so many different jobs and you may not know exactly what you're here to do, or you may, you know, this may be a confusing energy where it's a creative energy when it has clarity, when you're clear on what it is that you're here to do, but it also can cause some confusion, like, what am I really here for? So you're really, really, really good at interviews. You know, you're really good at just intuitively knowing what other people want to hear. You know, when you think of someone who has Neptune energy, I want to say that I think people like to watch you. You're like a dolphin, you're like a mermaid. Think about certain people with Pisces midheaven or Neptune on their midheaven. Like, I'm thinking like Kim Kardashian. You know, Kim Kardashian is all about illusions. Kim Kardashian she's the queen of just like illusions and like tricking people. And you know, when it comes to Neptune energy, it may not be the most honest. You know, it may be easy for people to be deceived by you. It may be easy for you to come off a certain way that may not be 100% true. You know, like I said, the 12th house ruling lies, ruling deceit. I'm not saying that you are someone who's dishonest, you lie, or anything like that. For example, Kim Kardashian. I don't quote me on this, but I want to say that she has Neptune conjunct her midheaven. Kim Kardashian created the boob tape, the body tape, but this is where the illusions come into play. Like, so that's just an example. And Pisces is such a sweet and innocent sign. Like, they aren't sweet and innocent. You guys aren't. Y'all don't got me fooled, okay? Okay, let me backtrack. One of the fish is sweet, the other fish is vicious, okay? You know, so you may have one fish that's sweet and kind and just wants to help others and, you know, doesn't want to hurt a fly. And then you have the other fish that's like the demon fish. You definitely like have sort of a duality where people assume that you're super sweet and nice and caring, but that's the side of them that you want to show them. If you wanted to show them your other side, you can have a very manipulative nature. And you know, it's not always a bad thing. It's giving me 48 Laws of Power vibes, you know, but it's not. You can have a manipulation, and I believe that all of the water signs have the ability to be emotionally manipulative, and that's okay. Okay, that's okay, because all the air signs have the ability to be intellectually manipulative. Really, you have this other side of you that's like a piranha. It's like you may turn around and be like, I might kill somebody today. You know, when a Pisces snap, they might grab a knife. I don't know. Pisces be crazy when they mad. People come at you like, oh, she's so sweet, let's poke her. And then when you actually get to a point where you're like, look, I'm not having this no more, you definitely have a way about you where you can scare the shit out of people, okay? Y'all can become sharks, okay? So yes, if you struggle with developing that energy within yourself, if you struggle bringing that out, life is gonna bring it out for you, so don't worry. You on your way, okay? So when it comes to this Pisces energy in your midheaven, this makes you hypersensitive to others. You know, this makes you hyper intuitive in your workplace and hyper receptive. So you, regardless of whether the energy is positive or negative, you absorb it and you take it into your spirit, because it's like your aura is open. It's open and you just take it in because you feel everything. You could come in and be like, okay, someone's gonna get exposed today. Okay, someone's gonna get fired today. Okay, you know, someone's gonna betray me today. You know, it's a very receptive energy, very much like Scorpio. You are taking in this energy into your spirit and you're just like absorbing it, and it's exhausting. It wears you out. It's like, oh my gosh, like I have to get out of here, you know? So you're swimming away. Pisces swim away. They're like, oh my God, this is just negative. You guys are complaining in here. You guys are bickering with each other. You guys are dramatic. this is messy, ew, like I can't do it, I quit, I can't do it. So once you start working for a place and you start seeing all the nastiness, the way people treat each other, how mean they talk to each other, you're like, this is the ghetto. Like, I'm gonna go, this is the ghetto. So you have to be very, like, you have to understand that when you go into a workplace, depending on the environment, depending on what type of job it is, you're going to have toxic people who are projecting their own insecurities onto you. They're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you. You are the easiest person to project onto. So someone who's going to come into the office and say, who can I dump my issues on? It's like you're the easiest target. It's like you stick out to a person who's trying to come in and just do some fuck shit that day. So you may just be the victim of a lot of people's issues. Their traumas, their shadow side that they don't want to show to anyone. They may just put it on you and say, and whatever it is that they think about you is really their shadow talking. Really, they're speaking about themselves. So it's like, oh, well, I just feel like you're this, or I just feel like you're that. You're like a canvas to them. Ooh, let me paint this. Ooh, let me paint that. You know what I mean? It's like, hold on, bitch. I'm already a work of art. You're such a kind soul. So you're like, you want to be there for people, but you really can't be there for everyone. You have to choose you, honey. Shout out to Astro Finesse, but he used this metaphor when explaining Pisces energy. He used this metaphor as a sponge. You're a sponge that's just absorbing anything around it. If you put a sponge in the mud, it's gonna absorb the mud regardless. It's a sponge. It's doing its job. Actually can run into the issue of becoming your surroundings. So staying in the same spot, staying in an environment that is not like you, really your job is to adapt to whatever environment that you're in. So you may become like the people at your job that you don't want to be. You may find yourself being a little bit more judgmental, than you normally would be. Pisces are not judgmental people, but you may find yourself engaging in sort of catty behaviors or whatever sort of toxic behavior that you're exposed to. If you don't remove yourself from the environment, you may very well be a person who also does those things. You really have no choice but to assimilate to your environment. So if you're in an environment that is toxic, that is causing you this emotional pain, it's causing you this spiritual heaviness, you have to subtract yourself from that situation because it's not worth your peace of mind. It's not worth it, You may not be someone who strives for all the money, power, fame, hoes, clothes, and bankrolls. You might not be that type of person. You might be the person who's like, I just want to touch some souls today. This way that you can absorb other people's baggage, absorb their negative qualities, absorb their positive qualities as well. But this can really affect your ability to perform in the workplace. This definitely may affect your output. This may affect your sales, it may affect your numbers, it may affect your concentration. It's as if you are unable to operate under toxic environments. It can really hurt you. What people say to you, what people do, how they treat each other, like the stuff that you see, like the dirty, and just be like, y'all just dirty. Y'all just dirty. I can't be around this. I just can't, And it can bring you a certain level of disgust when people treat each other mean, or you see certain evil things that people say about each other, spreading rumors. It just brings you disgust. It's like, how could somebody do that? Like, you're very dreamy, you're a vibe, you're probably extremely artistic outwardly as well in your own way, and this may attract some jealousy. This may attract some haters. They might be like, who does she think she is, Erykah Badu? I don't know what's going on with me today. Who she thinks she is, Erykah Badu? Oh, she thinks she Janae Aiko. You just look like you carry this book of knowledge in your soul. So some people want what you have. Well, you may mesmerize people, especially if you're an artist, especially if you're someone who you may mesmerize people with your artwork, your drawings, your paintings, your sculpture. You know, it may be something that pulls people into a different world. And if you're an artist, as in a musician, a singer, a rapper, whatever it is that you do, like if you're a public figure, you know, you may pull people into your world. You know, you may create this world for people to go to. This makes me feel like, okay, Astro World. Travis Scott, Astro World, that's Neptune all the way. So I don't know what Travis Scott is. I don't know what his astrology is, but Travis Scott pulls us into his world that he created. Like, this is an alternate universe. Welcome. And so you have this ability to create this sort of aura, this vibe around you, where it's like when people come into your presence, it's like they feel calm, they feel serenity, you know, they feel like, wow, you know, I just want to regurgitate every single thing that's ever happened to me in my soul and just talk about when I was born up until now on you. People may really open up to you, you know, people love being in your presence, and you know, other people can recognize that others love to be in your presence, and this may incite some jealousy. Your IC is Virgo. Your Imum Coeli is Virgo. And so you definitely have this sort of upbringing in your childhood that you may have been, your parents or your parental figures, the people around you, your family, you may have been expected to strive for perfection. You may be someone who was forced to sort of be this really extremely methodical, you know, have this sort of perfect structured way of being. You know, you may have been expected to perform perfectly in school, then come home and do every single chore, and then do you know, you may have had a lot of expectations as a child where you were expected to perform all of the daily tasks. You know, before you can go and do something you like, you have to get this thing done. You know, you're definitely someone who has a lot of in your childhood, and you may have had parents who were overly critical of you. You know, they may have been very critical of the way that you spoke, you know, the way that you dressed, the way that you carried yourself, the way that you did your hair, the way that, you know, you may be someone who's just, your childhood, they could have just been extremely critical of your behaviors, you know, of how you thought, the things that you said. Like, you could have had a very, very cold upbringing, and that may not have been a loveless upbringing, but it more so was it sounds like it was definitely this sort of really heady, non-emotional, very intellectual, very practical way of being raised, you know. So you have this upbringing where you may have felt like you had to live up to this standard that was almost impossible for you to live up to. It's almost this perfection, because nothing is ever perfect, you know. But you may have had people around you, your parents, you know, whoever raised you, your guardian, maybe your, you know, family, whatever the case is, may have put their perfectionist ideas onto you, where they expected you to be perfect. And it was a very stressful time in your childhood where you were expected to pretty much perform for people, and, you know, it may have not ever been good enough. It's like, you know, you may have experienced a loveless childhood where it felt like maybe you felt unloved, or maybe you felt like if you didn't do something right, you were wrong, you know. And so moving into this, you know, you may have been expected to do all the chores in the house. You know, you may have been treated, I'm getting this, you may have even been treated like a servant. Like, as a child, you may have even been treated like the help, if that makes sense. Like, you weren't allowed to take up space. You were just there to be of service to the adults. And there's nothing wrong with teaching a child to serve others and to be helpful. But this could have been to a point where it really harmed your self-esteem, and it made you feel like you were not allowed to exist without being of service, with, you know, exist without kind of servicing others. And it could really affect yourself. It could really affect your self-esteem even now, feeling like you can just exist or show up somewhere and not be of service to someone, or not be helpful to someone, or not be giving or give something to someone. You know, when you've experienced such a cold upbringing, and I'm not saying that it was all bad, you know, you definitely spent a lot of time kind of being in solitude. You spent a lot of time in solitude as a child, and you spent a lot of time learning a lot, reading, doing things that really stimulated your mind. And you may have had a childhood where you feel like you had to grow up fast. You know, you may have been someone that maybe had to take care of your other siblings. So, you know, experiencing this sort of energy in your home life, in your deep family roots, it's like now you come into your career life. Now you come into the part of your life that you have absolute control over, because you don't have control over your childhood, you know that, but you do have control over your career life. When you go out into the world, you know, what sort of legacy do you want to bring? Like, what do you bring to the table, you know? And so when you actually have the ability to control of them, because that's how you maybe were treated as a child, you know? And so really you want to look at the big picture of things. So having the 12th house ruling karma, you may go through a lot of sort of traumatic energy in your 12th. You may go through sorts of these traumas. You may go through this endless sort of repeating cycle in your workplace. And if this resonates with anyone, let it resonate. If it don't apply, let it fly. So you may go through a lot of cycles that seem sort of endless. They seem sort of like these vicious cycles that keep repeating themselves, but it's karmic. So it's like righting your wrongs. You know, you may have to go through the same thing over and over and over again and sort of repeat this cycle until you either learn what it is you need to learn, or you really the same cycle will keep presenting itself in your workplace. This sort of energy will keep playing itself out until you grasp whatever it is you're supposed to learn. And that's really with anything, but specifically with the 12th house ruling karma. You know, you may be someone who's, this is kind of messed up, but like, you know, addiction is really bad here. You know, being someone who is an escapist, you know, you may struggle with sort of like this addiction. You may struggle with drinking. You may struggle with being publicly intoxicated. You know, you may have a scandal where you were caught drunk somewhere and the tabloids saw you. You know, you may drink at work. You know, you may be the person who has the flask and you're filling up your coffee with Baileys and you're like, yep, let me get through the day, you know. So this is a very, like, you know, you may have this I gotta be drunk to get through the day sort of vibe. Like, this is just coming to me, you know. So just be careful with your tendency to want to escape, and understand that, you know, there are different ways that you can escape that aren't through self-medication. You know, you may get real high before work and be like, I just don't want to be here right now. I just don't want to be here. This isn't the life that I want. This isn't the life that I deserve. This isn't even what I asked for. So let me get high before I get into work. Let me get drunk before I get into work. So really, that concludes your Pisces Midheaven. I hope that you pulled some value from this and you were able to learn a lot. And I really enjoyed speaking on the Pisces Midheaven. So I've been really deeply interested in astrology and studying astrology and learning it and viewing life through an astrological lens for the past 10 years. Really the better half of 15 years when I include just my childhood and my awareness of astrology. really it's about 15 years worth of just viewing things and learning on a very personal level, like what astrology is for me. Honestly, astrology has brought so much value to my life that I just love it. I love it. So you're definitely going to be seeing more videos from me. I'll definitely be pumping them out faster, and I definitely just love talking about astrology. So until next time, thank you so much.